back to Julie's Wreath Boutique. Today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful wreath using Deco poly mesh and poly burlap mesh. And then I'm going to show you how we can bling out that center. Totally in love with it. I loved how I cut it. I show you how to fuse together the edges so that there'll be less fraying and one less step to get together a petal. So stay tuned. Let's get started. So the first step in this wreath is how we're going to cut the Deco mesh or the Deco poly mesh and the poly burlap mesh. I know that's two separate materials. As you can see, when I put this up here, you've got the Deco poly mesh and then you have the poly burlap mesh. And I do have a video where I discuss the differences in all these meshes and poly burlap and burlap, because there's a lot out there, let's just face it. And sometimes it can be confusing. And instead of buying the wrong product, I'd like to be able to help you in that area and help inform you of the differences. So I will link that video below. But this was kind of a happy accident. I also had made a wreath a few years ago for my grandmother's funeral, and where I had taken the poly burlap and a white Deco mesh and I layered the two and made a really pretty petal. Well, tonight I was just thinking, I want to see if I could cut both pieces at once. Well, guess what? It works. So as you can see, I've already cut a piece and it kind of fuses it together. I'm not really pulling. Now you could pull that apart, I'm sure, but as you can see, that's just kind of sticking together because I ran the wood burner through it once. So let's just go through it. I'm going to show you. I'm going to lay it really straight here. And I have the 10-inch cream poly burlap and then layer it with the rose gold, or I think it's rose gold, Deco poly mesh underneath of it. So I'm just going to start at the 10-inch mark, and I'm just going to, not too fast, I'm going to kind of go a little bit slower than I would normally go, just to kind of give it time to kind of fuse together. Okay, I'm going to let that cool, and then I'm going to cut another one, go to the next 10, which would be the 20 spot here, and I'm just going to go through here. And so this is what we're going to use for our petals. And since I only have one roll of this rose gold Deco poly mesh, I'm going to use a smaller frame tonight, just so that it'll ensure that I will have enough of this mesh to do a whole wreath for you. So I'll come back. I'm going to cut this whole roll. So that should be about 30 petals. I'm not sure if we're going to use all 30 petals, but at least we'll have them cut and ready to go. So I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back, and the next step is we are going to take an 8-inch frame. I get these at consumercrafts.com, but you can find these at Michael's or Hobby Lobby, Joann's, any of those places will have it. And basically, what do I always use? I use this canvas. It's a plastic canvas. Reese sells it. I also get it at consumercrafts.com. And it's like $1, I want to say $1.50 a sheet, and I get a lot of use out of one sheet. And as you know, I just take the frame, and I'm going to take a marker here and I outline that middle section, and then I just cut it out, and then I just take some little zip ties and I'm just going to connect it to the inside of my frame. So I'll be right back and I'll get that done. As you can see here, I have the little piece of plastic canvas already attached to my frame. It's just very simple, and we're going to start with our petal. So we're just going to take a piece that is already together here, and as you can see, it's just connected, and that's what I kind of liked about it. So we're going to just meet it in the middle, the curved side up, meet in the middle, opposite corners, and we're just going to gather. Now we're just going to use the typical petal fold that I do here, and basically you take the bow tie, I guess is what I would like to refer to it, and I just like to bend it up, and I put slightly one petal over top of the bottom petal, and all I'm going to do is take my zip tie, and I'm just going to show you really quick. There are 4 rings on this wreath frame. This is 1, 2, 3, and 4. we're gonna work on ring 2, not ring 4, okay? So just leave that one alone for now. So all I'm gonna do is I'm going to take my zip tie underneath that second ring, and I'm going to attach it like this. And I'm just gonna pull it really good, okay? And then I'm gonna make another petal, and we're gonna put it right beside this one. Again, curled sides up, meet in the middle, and then you're just going to gather it, okay? Now this has a little bit more substantial feel to it when you're working with it because of the poly, or the Deco poly mesh that's on top. So again, I'm just going to bring one petal over the other one, take a zip tie, and we're just gonna put it right here beside it. Same bar. So what I want to do, this has 4 sections, okay? And basically what I want to do on this is I want to put 3 petals per section. So that first ring, we're going to put 12 petals. So I'm going to do all 12 petals, and I will be back and I'll show you what we're going to do for the second ring. Okay, so I'm back, and honestly, I wish you were in my craft room with me to see how pretty this rose gold poly deco mesh is, or Deco poly mesh. I'm not sure. I think it's Deco poly mesh. So I apologize if I'm confusing you. That is not my intention. But this is so pretty. So just the look of it is so pretty. It's just so elegant. So the next thing I'm going to do, and because we're using a smaller frame, I'm kind of doing this a little differently maybe. And if you would like to see me make this wreath on like a 10-inch frame or a 12-inch frame, make sure to comment in the comments below and say 10-inch or 12-inch. And in the new year, I will try to make that happen when I have more than one roll of a pretty mesh like this. So I've got my petal here, and the next step I'm going to do is I want to go in between each of these petals, okay? So this is going to be a little bit of a tight fit. So like right here, I would put one in between, and that is going to go on that, remember how I said the bars are 1, 2, 3, and 4? So now we're on bar 3. So I'm just going to lay that literally right in between these 2 petals, okay? And the reason why I want to do that is I want this to lay so that it's not sticking up so much that you could see your fasteners if you were looking at the wreath sideways. So that was really important to me. So let's do another one. Take another 8-inch zip tie, and any of my tools that I use tonight, I have an Amazon store, and all of that stuff is linked in the Amazon store, and you can even get these frames from Amazon as well. So I'm just going to put my zip tie on that, the bar 3 or whatever we want to call it, and I'm just going to take my curled side up, meet in the middle, and gather. I'm going to flip it over, and then I'm just going to kind of hold this one down, and then I'm going to just place it right in between. And these will get a little bit tight, so you're just going to have to work with it. So what I will do is I will just go ahead and finish. I will go through and make sure you tighten that up good. So I will go through and I will put all of the second layer petals on, and then we'll come back and we will see how many is left and decide exactly what petal we're going to do in the middle and what our center is going to be for this wreath. So stay tuned, we're not done yet. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, before I move on to the inside layer of petals, I just want to kind of show you really quick the last petal that I'm going to put in here. And as you can see, we've got everything in nice and tight, and you're going to have to press this in pretty good. So I'm just going to move it in between these 2 and just put it in there, okay? But that's not what I wanted you to see. What I wanted you to see is this, is that as I go around that second row, the petal that's underneath your primary petal here, I want this to always lay over the next petal. So over here, what I have to do, because this is over this petal, I just gently pull this back and I'll put this under so that our petals will go in a nice order and they'll lay really nice for us. So let's do the inside. So what we're going to do is I generally will just like move these little zip ties over because they can hurt you if you're not careful. So I'm just going to move them over like that. And then I'm going to take my zip tie, and at this point you could stop and be done, and you would just need to make a center that's that big that would cover all of this. But I'm not going to do that tonight. I don't think I want to make the center quite that big. I want to show you a row of petals inside, and then because I have enough to do it, so I'm going to give it a try here. Again, this is the first time I'm making this one. So I'm just going to I'm going to start these like in between, and we won't use as many as we've done. We did 12 petal sections on the second bar and then on the third bar. So we won't need that many for the inside of the wreath. Actually, I want to do this side. And I'm going to just make our petal. Okay, we're doing it the exact same way we've been doing it. And we're just going to lay it down in here, okay? And just pull it really tight, okay? And that will just lay really nicely. So we're just going to keep going through here. I'm going to do another one for you. And I like these zip ties that I'm using. I have these in my Amazon store because they're really thin, and I just really like them. So we're just going to go over here because we're not going to need as many, like I said. We just need to cover this part. See how those are sticking through there? And that's okay. You can just make a bigger center, and I think it would be beautiful either way. But I'm going to keep going with this and show you how I think we're going to do a pearl center, and show you how to do that. And this is just, I really wish you were here in person because it is just so pretty. And as you can see, we're going to run out of room, okay? So you're going to have to really work with it. I'm going to make another one right here. And you're just going to go around. And when I'm done, I'm going to show you the bottom of this. And you can see the placement of the zip ties a whole lot better. I don't even know if that was a whole lot better. Was that even proper English? I'm not. Oh my goodness. So I think this would be so pretty with so many different color combinations. But you know what I think this is going to do is that you're just going to, because that these two petals are basically, what is it, woven or melted together basically, I just think that you're going to have less fraying as well. So I think that helps as well. So I'm going to keep going through this. I think we're going to do probably 4 more petals. So I'll get those done and we'll come back and we will work on our center. Okay, so we finished our wreath. As you can see, I did 6 petals, not the 7 that I originally had thought I was going to end up doing, but that's okay. In total, you'll use 30 petals for an 8-inch wreath form. And now we're going to work on the center. And I really think this is just going to add a little bit of elegance to it. I'm going to use these pearls that are on a strand. I got these at Hobby Lobby. And let's see, it doesn't say exactly what the diameter of like the pearls are, but I'm going to just kind of show you. That's kind of how big they are. So if you message me and ask me what the diameter is, I don't think I'm going to know. It doesn't say on the package, but it is 24 foot and it's $2.99 at Hobby Lobby. And it does go on sale every other week. So we're going to just take a little bit of our glue, and you're going to be very careful. I'm going to try to do it without my little glue tips here, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the very tip top of this foam ball. And I should say this was a 2.8-inch foam ball that I cut in half. So You're going to start it in the middle, and you're just simply going to wrap it around itself. And I might have a little bit of extra glue there. So just going to kind of hold it there. I think what I'll do too, you know what I'll do? In the original video of the other flower, if you watched from the beginning here, I said that this was kind of based off of another elegant flower that I did for my grandmother's funeral. And I'm going to show you exactly what you can do to kind of bling this out and make it even prettier. So I'm just going to kind of move this around a little bit because I kind of feel like it's not quite in the center. And since it's still, you know, kind of warm and it's not too hot to the touch, so I can kind of put my fingers on it now. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to just keep gluing this around in a circular motion. So there's just not a whole lot to it, but you're just going to keep gluing it. Now, if you're concerned with the white showing through, I'm not concerned with that. I kind of like it. You could always paint your foam and let it dry before you start this process too. So like if you wanted to, you could paint it like a nice light pink if you were using the same kind of mesh that I'm using. But as you can see, I'm not going to do that, so I don't really feel like it's necessary, but you can do that. Just kind of depends on what you're working with. You know, if you were working like with, if you got like black pearls, you would probably want the, get a little bit of glue gone. You would probably want your foam painted black. And if you know where you can get black pearls on Australia, let me know, because I'd be interested in knowing, you know, help a crafter out. You know, we got to stick together. We got to let each other know where the great deals are. So, but I will definitely link the different videos that have inspired this wreath. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep going along because it's going to take me a few minutes, okay, for that glue to set up. I'm not talking about my nephew. I have a nephew named Drew, but for the glue to set up. So I will finish this. So I'm going to go simply all the way around till we get down to the end, okay? And then I'll come back and I'm going to show you how we're going to bling this out, okay? Okay, so we have the pearls already on our ball. Here are half sphere or whatever you want to call it. So it dries pretty quickly, so I'm going to put this out of the way. So now we need to, before I add the kind of bling, I need to put my wire on it so that we can attach it to the middle of our wreath. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to put a piece of wire, I don't know if you can see that or not, but we're going to put that in between here. And what I like to do is I did not grab these ahead of time like I normally do, a couple of floral picks. So I'm just going to kind of place those down in the middle, kind of at a slant, just to make sure that they don't come through on the other side, okay? And you could be done at that, but I don't like to be done at that. I like to add a little bit more security. So I will take a piece of just scrap felt here, put some glue on it, and lay that over top. And again, I like security. So I take these really cool, they're quilter pens. They have just a T-top or T-pens if you want to call them. And then I will just go down at an angle on each side here. And it's just going to help keep your bulb together here. So that's important to me. I like to have enough on here to just secure everything. All right, so we're going to turn this over. And I'm going to use these little pens, and they have like little jewels on the top of them. I get these at Michael's craft stores, and they are the David Tutera or Tutera brand. And they're actually Corsage pens, and you can find them in the bridal section of all places. But I like to just kind of put them throughout. And as you can see, if you can see that little pen, I'm going to try to do this a little bit higher up for you so you can see. And I just kind of like to put them throughout just to kind of add a little bit of something special, you know. And when you get these, use your coupons, you know, don't pay full price. Get that 40% out coupon and use it. And I know that if you search something called Lomi pens, I'm not sure exactly how you spell that, that's kind of the same thing. And I know my friend Michelle Noble of A Noble Touch Crafts here on YouTube, and you should be checking out her channel. I'll link it below. She will make a whole center. She makes literally the most fabulous deco mesh flowers, and I'm telling you, nobody does it better than she does. If you like deco mesh, you need to be watching her tutorials. So as you can see, this just kind of adds a little bit of something to it. And I just kind of, I don't know, it reminded me when I did this wreath, it reminded me of my grandmother. And that's, she always had a flair of just being, just looking her best. And she loved her jewelry, and she used to wear these angel pens, and she used to sell them too. And this is what reminded me of her. So as you can see, I'm just going to put maybe one more, because it doesn't really need it down here. But as you can see, that just kind of adds a little bit of a bling to it. And you don't have to do this. This is just what I'm going to do. And look at me. I've made a mess. So I'm going to clean up my mess, and we're going to put it all together in just a moment. Okay, so we have the center ready to go in. So I'm just going to take it, and I'm going to just find a spot where that wire will go through, because we have things really tight right here. Okay, there's a spot in the middle. Let's just do it in the very center here. All right, come on. Here we go. I got it. So I'm going to pull that through. Hopefully it didn't come through the same one. Oh, nope, it didn't. Okay, so we're just going to keep pulling it through. All right, so you see that? I'm going to just pull it on the other side, and I'm just going to make this nice and tight. I'm going to twist it. And as you can see, everything looks nice and tidy here. Then I'm just going to bend it over, and then I just stick the wires back through. As you can see, we just kind of went around with our zip ties, okay? So what would I do after that? I would just take a piece of felt, and I would cover the back of the wreath, and I just poke holes through it with some sharp scissors and attach it with some zip ties. So I will do that in a little bit here, but let's look at our finished wreath. So you're just gonna, you might need to adjust it a little bit. But I think that looks really pretty. And I'm just, I wish you were here in my craft room so you could see how pretty this color is. I got a little bit of felt there. But I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Now, if you stayed with me this long, and you know what, I really appreciate if you stayed with me this long, would you leave me a little bling of an emoji? So a diamond ring, a diamond or something, since we put some bling in this flower. But if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Comment below if you'd like to see me make a bigger wreath with this, just to see how many petals we need and all that. Maybe we could do a different center, but let me know in the comments below. It's such an encouraging thing to see you guys talk and just communicate with me. Is awesome. But thank you so much. If you're on Instagram, I'm on Instagram. Check me out. I'm on Facebook, Julie's Wreath Boutique, all those places. So have a wonderful evening or day, or whatever time of the day you are watching this. But thank you so much for taking the time to watch me make this wreath, and I hope you learned something. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.